It's really a great privilege for me, along with the best wishes of my brother Alan, to present the Sheldon Williams Leadership Award, which we established in 2008 to recognize leadership that inspires those with hearing loss to achieve and make a difference for others. Now, this award was named for my dad, known professionally as Sheldon Williams. My dad was a client of CHC's predecessor beginning way back in the middle of the last century. He's a longtime member of the board, as Lori said. He served for many years as our treasurer, and he was a human resources executive for large corporate organizations and led CHC in developing its strategic vision that still guides us today. For more than 3 decades, he was an advisor to the CHC family, and he served as a mentor to many of those on the CHC senior management team. So my father Sheldon's guidance is still with us, and is still with those he coached, because he imparted lasting lessons on how to inspire professionals and leaders to achieve their best and drive organizations forward. Recall the number to call was 1-800-SHELDON. So Sheldon's gifts on this line and in life was helping you to arrive at your own best answer. So our honoree today, Dr. Becky Clark, truly exemplifies my dad's ideal of inspiring others to achieve no matter what the obstacles you may face. Dr. Clark is a multi-sport elite athlete who, among other achievements, played basketball for the legendary Pat Summit at the University of Tennessee. She's a 3-time Deaf Olympian with 1 gold and 2 silver medals for the USA Deaf women's volleyball team, and she also competed in the 1991 U.S. Olympic Festival. She's played for 2 legendary Hall of Fame coaches and has run 7 marathons. But it's what Dr. Clark has done to build on her athletic exploits that merits her recognition here today. She's an internationally recognized psychotherapist and sports performance and disability consultant specializing in child maltreatment, disability rights, grief, hearing loss, substance abuse, trauma, and sport and exercise effects on mental health. Dr. Clark has served as a sports envoy to China for the State Department and as an American cultural ambassador in the world of sports for deaf in Venezuela. She's worked worldwide with entities from over 100 countries, and she was recognized as a torchbearer and served there in the 2002 Winter Olympics as a result for advocacy and clinical work in child maltreatment. Dr. Clark has championed the use of sport as a tool for effective and positive social change and is truly a staunch advocate for persons with disabilities, using sport as a vehicle to break barriers and build bridges among cultures globally. Dr. Clark, your achievements and your inspiration is a real beacon. We're privileged for all of us to have you with us here today. It's especially meaningful to recognize you today because you truly are part of the CHC family, having worked and consulted here as well. So everyone, please join me in the warmest welcome to Dr. Becky Clark, recipient of the Sheldon Williams Leadership.
I tend to talk loud. Can you hear me? First of all, Don, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. What was Sheldon said? I am truly honored to be here today. What a tremendous honor, because I've come home. I've been at CHC. I've worked here twice. Once as part of the Center for Healthcare Access grant, and later, about 10 years ago, with the mental health department. I would also like to take a moment to thank Commissioner Khalees for being here today, and I can truly say that you're right about the dollar amount. Everything's about dollars. Sometimes I think people with invisible disabilities get lost in the pot of money. So that's why we must show that we are visible. And I know that the mayor's office is committed to people with hearing loss and serving them as well as other disabilities. So thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to do a big thank you too to CHC. I see many of you I used to work with. all those who stood up 30 years, 25, 20. It's so wonderful to be back home again. This award has been very special. I see you, Al. Yeah. And I'd like to recognize Yoni again. You don't have to teach me how to pronounce that. Lodnishparli. Is that right? Close enough. I'm not broken either. I'm truly impressed. I was playing around with those 46 mountains last night, and I computed about 570 miles round trip, just about, plus, but it's not just your flat mileage. It's up and down. And then computed there were about, half of those 46 mountains that were the most difficult level. They have levels 1 through 7. And he has ascended and descended half of that at levels 6 and 7. Tremendous, amazing, awesome. You are not broken. People with normal hearing probably. They would never make it up. I've been up to Whiteface Mountain in Albany, well, outside of Lake Placid. And, but I have to say I cheated. I drove halfway up. I've been up Pikes Peak, too, in Colorado. I drove halfway up. I get on the peak and I play. I say I got here, you know. But I have also worked with several women who have ascended to 7 summits of the world. And I expect that Yoni is going to come down from 46 and he's going to go for the 7 world summits. Correct? No? 7 summits. Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll talk, you know. So, Mom, you can just helicopter drop him in, okay? Okay.
We'll let the movie.
So, I'd like to say congratulations to all the honorees today. I believe there's Mary Ella there, and you will be honored later to do. And one where we have Deputy Inspector Dan Carioni over here. Congratulations to everyone. And I just want to talk just a bit about my own hearing loss and actually the work that I've done. My hearing loss was later in life, around 13, 14 years of age, from head trauma. Then I became hard of hearing. By the time I was in college, I became deaf. So I had 30 years of deafness until this wonderful woman sitting back in the corner over there, Ellen Lafargue, wanted to talk to me about cochlear implants. And I talked to the head. No, not going to happen. But I say talk to the hand, I don't mean that in a negative way because, Ellen makes her living in a box. We have to raise our hand. You hear that? You hear that? So when I worked here, every time I saw her, I would just hand up in the air. Really successful, right? Ellen, my first impression of audiologists, or my first experience with audiologists as a child in Tennessee was a very negative one. So when I came to New York, I expected all audiologists to be the same. She proved them wrong. She was very compassionate and caring, as I found most of CHC staff are. Their dedication, commitment, their passion to the work that you do. And I want to say it's got to be the top in this country, and I will wager that it's probably the top in the world. And I'm a little biased. My supervisor for the mental health department at the time was Eileen Miner. She retired in 2008, I believe. She kept saying, okay, why don't you consider the cochlear implant? I said, I've had this conversation with Ellen already a few years before. She said, technology has changed. She says, wonderful reverse psychology on me. You don't have to do anything. Just go sit, listen, and talk. So I decided that my surgeon, after I did a lot of research on the top programs in this country for cochlear implants, I ended up with who? your medical director, Dr. Tom Rowland. Outstanding, outstanding. These cochlear implants have been a game changer for me. Not to say that it would be the same for everyone else, because I believe in empowering children with hearing loss, individuals with hearing loss, adults. You do what's best for you, not what the popular opinion is, because all of our hearing losses are different. I left CHC about 9 years ago, and I found an email that I wrote that I'd like to read. This was my outgoing letter to CHC. I've enjoyed working with every one of you in the 2 years that I've been here. You are a special family with whom there are many wonderful and long-lasting memories. Sure, there were days when we thought they'd never end, but we got through them together. I appreciate you. No matter what the job or the title, each of you left your own imprint on my life, and I will leave the building tonight feeling richer and wealthier from having met you. I'm not good with goodbyes, so I say so long. Thank you, gracious, gracias, shalom, and hand wave it in the air. You have touched me and I have grown. So tonight, Sheldon Williams and his son has brought us back together. So I say, hello, it's good to be home. My work as Don said, is I wear many hats. My bread and butter has been as a psychotherapist and sports psychology consultant. Basically, in both jobs, and including the sports diplomacy that I've done in other countries, as well as sports visitors programs in this country, has basically been being inclusive, providing performance enhancement with mental skills, and basically improving the lives of others. I have found in my work has been that sport is a great unifier. It is a powerful tool that brings people together across boundaries, cultures, and religions. Its intrinsic values such as teamwork, fairness, discipline, respect for the opponent, and the rules of the game are understood all over the world. It builds confidence, self-esteem, discipline, communication, and leadership skills. It increases physical health, that good feeling of endorphins going off in your head, and mental health well-being, as well as increasing social cohesion. It teaches us lessons as well. And I will tell you one story about the famous Pat Summitt that Don mentioned. She was a very tough coach to play for. My hearing loss at the time, I was still learning about it. I didn't know what it's like, what I was hearing, what I wasn't hearing. I knew what I wasn't hearing, but I didn't know how to handle it. It was very difficult, especially in a fast-paced, top women's basketball team in the country, and for one of the most difficult, tough, demanding coaches. One day she told me at practice, Becky, you are not allowed to change players on your defense. I said, well, why not? Because the offense of the other team would always come and set a screen on me, and my teammates would be hollering, pick on your right or pick on your left. Well, I'm not going to hear that. So I just slammed right into the player, and the other team would get an easy 2 points. So when Pat yelled at you in practice, I like to tease Pat that I became deaf because of her, all the yelling. Not necessarily, though. So she stopped practice, and she was very patient. Everyone, like we were quaking in our boots. Oh, gosh, what's going to happen? And she said, you are not going to be able to switch with anyone else. You've got to stay with your players. You're not going to hear your teammate yell. well, I don't have eyes behind my head. And she said, no, but you got to see it coming. You got to anticipate. How many of us with hearing loss, we anticipate what the next move is going to be? Anticipate. That lesson served me in all the areas of my life in the 36 years since I played for her. I too, like Yoni, have felt lonely, isolated, rejected for being different. Or how many times have they said to us, Yoni, that you talk well, are you sure you're deaf? It has been, it taxes one. By the time we get to the starting line, we're tired and exhausted because we fought for accessibility and accommodations. Everyone else is all fresh and ready to go. We're like, oh God, we finally got here. And oh, we got to go too. So I will leave you with these words. Even though hearing loss is a hidden disability, invisible, you are not. Empowered. You are empowered to come out of the shadows. Use your strengths. Focus on your talents and skills to break through the barriers and overcome challenges to maximize our potential and achieve excellence and fulfillment. Don't be afraid to ask for help when needed. Don't let your can't-dos get in the way of your can-dos. Keep a positive mindset. Be a game changer. Play, lead, and dare to be bold. Be you. And it is my pleasure and my deepest honor and respect to accept the Sheldon Williams Leadership Award. And thank you, CHC, for bringing me home.